Hi, I'm Sid Trivedi, partner at Foundation Capital.
Hi, I'm Apoorva Pandhi, Managing Director at Zetta Venture Partners.
Foundation Capital is an early-stage venture firm based in the Bay Area. We've been around since 1995 and typically invest at the seed and Series A stages across enterprise, fintech, and crypto.
Zetta is an AI-focused venture fund founded almost a decade back. It was founded to focus purely on data and machine learning back in the day.
I've been investing in cyber for over a decade, and I think the biggest learning for me over that period of time has just been seeing the elevation of the CISO role. Typically, the person who led the security team, they weren't even called CISO, they were a security manager, and they reported into somebody else who reported into the CIO. They were two levels down. And over the last 10 years, we have seen that role significantly be up-leveled to the point where in many companies it is equivalent to a CIO, and in some companies it's above the CIO. CISOs typically are reporting directly to the CEO. They're presenting at least at minimum a quarterly basis, sometimes even more, to the board of directors of these public companies. And so what they have had to do is figure out, how do we explain these highly technical concepts to boards and to executive teams who don't really understand cybersecurity? And for most boards and executive teams, the most important question is, what's the likelihood that we'll be breached? And how does this XYZ thing that I read in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times or watched on CNN or Fox News today, how does this attack, is it relevant to our company or not? And they have to take a pretty complex question and try to simplify it in a way that these folks who are not spending their day-to-day lives thinking about cybersecurity are able to understand and assess whether there's some level of risk. At the end of the day, nobody wants to be on the front page of the Wall Street Journal about a cyber attack, and there are enough of those, unfortunately, that are happening. I think one of the hardest questions that CISOs have had to try to go and answer for boards and executive teams is, what is the ROI? What is the benefit I'm getting from all these disparate tools in security that we as a company and I have kind of led the purchasing of? And that question is incredibly difficult to answer. And it's difficult to answer because you only see the true benefit of security when there is an attack. And how do you respond to that attack? And sometimes you can simulate that through offensive testing. You can go and show that, hey, with all these tools, we are able to find this potential attack faster. But on a daily basis, how do you go and quantify the value of each of these tools and these systems and these humans that are in place? That question is still very manual. You'll have a security team, a security leader go and have a sub-team, and in many public companies, there's been a whole creation of a category or function called security strategy, which reports into the deputy CISO. CFOs have ERP, sales leaders have CRM, HR has HRIS, and the security leader doesn't have that equivalent tool. For them, they have spreadsheets, a couple of memos, and then they're praying that they can combine the two plus some of the external data to try to create some type of central source of truth. And that open question has plagued security for a very long time. So there is a huge opportunity to go and say, hey, can we go and aggregate both the data we get from these different software tools, plus the business context from these memos and compliance docs and messages that are sent back and forth, whether by email or Slack or Jira tickets, combine all of that information and provide a single source of truth for the security leader and for their teams. That opportunity is still very much there for the taking.
Right. I think there are two tailwinds right now. One is around being able to consolidate all these different bespoke silos of data, and there's different kinds of data, and there's now there's so many frameworks now where you can unify a lot of these data sources to create that unified data infrastructure, which then can kind of interplay with your agents. There'll definitely be people doing bespoke things with everything from doing pen test review to being able to figure out your security reports, intelligence reports, to be able to look at vendor risk assessment and all of those. There's a lot of bespoke tasks, and you either get a vendor for each of them, or you can try and automate those things internally yourself. and there are like hundreds of those small tasks. So the idea of like Pulse, which is being able to like unify data across like all of those bespoke tools and sources, and bringing it all under like one unified view, which kind of gives you intelligence and visibility into like what's happening in your security posture. That's number one, because there's so many products will continue to exist. And the second is being able to like automate a lot of these like small bespoke tasks, which are hundreds of them. They just add up, and there's no one vendor addressing all of these tasks. If you can kind of do that two-pronged process using Pulse's vision, I think that could be a massive opportunity.
With Pulse Security, we will be able to see a world where security teams don't have to wait, whether that's weeks, whether that's months or more, to go and answer questions that might seem simple but are actually pretty complex to figure out. And those include, things like, to your point, thinking about whether vulnerability applies to their use case, trying to assess and measure how they are doing versus other programs of peers, trying to figure out where are there tools that need to be replaced versus tools that should exist.
Right.
And then of course, the day-to-day tasks that might seem mundane and take up a lot of time, like drafting board memos, creating new docs to go and provide updated compliance requirements. Those things can finally get automated with Pulse.
Right. And no better team than Mike, Rob, and Nick, who've done this multiple times. They've built like they're repeat founders. The founders of Respond. I was fortunate to see them build Respond. Sid was obviously more involved with Respond, and I was at Foundation at that point in time. And then Respond was acquired by Mandiant, and then Mandiant got acquired by Google, and these guys were at just the forefront of the SecLLM business over there, and then decided to and saw this opportunity both because of AI and because of the capabilities. And because of AI, I meant that there is more security risk in every organization.